Τι είναι ο διάλογος? Η συνομιλία, η συζήτηση με στόχο την πληροφόρηση και την αναζήτηση της αλήθειας. Όπως το οξυγόνο είναι απαραίτητο για τον ανθρώπινο οργανισμό, ο επικοδομητικός συμμετοχικός διάλογος είναι απαραίτητος για τη λειτουργία της δημοκρατίας. Ο οργανισμός Oxygono στοχεύει στην καλλιέργεια μιας κουλτούρας διαλόγου και ανταλλαγής απόψεων μεταξύ εμπειρογνωμόνων, αξιωματούχων και άλλων πρωταγωνιστών και την πρόθεση ιδεών στα κέντρα λήψης αποφάσεων, στην παρουσία και με τη συμμετοχή του πολίτη που έχει άποψη. Το οξυγόνο δεν ανήκει σε κανέναν, αλλά ταυτόχρονα ανήκει σε όλους. Δεν εκφράζει συγκεκριμένη άποψη. Είναι απλώς μία πλατφόρμα συζήτησης θεμάτων που διευρύνουν τους ορίζοντές μας, για να λύσουμε προβλήματα, για να βελτιώσουμε την νοοτροπία μας, για να εξελίξουμε τη χώρα μας. Συμμετέχουμε, συνεργαζόμαστε. Μέσα από τον διάλογο κερδίζουμε όλοι. Ο πολίτης που θέλει να πληροφορηθεί και να εισακουστεί, και ο πολιτικός που χρειάζεται την άποψη και στήριξη του πολίτη για να προωθήσει αλλαγές. Τα πράγματα μπορούν να αλλάξουν. Η αλλαγή αρχίζει από διάλογο και εξελίσσεται σε πράξεις. Αρχίζει με το οξυγόνο.
Dear guests, what an absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to today's event on youth and the future of Europe, role, opportunities and challenges. This event is organized jointly by the non-governmental organization Oxygono and the Cyprus Network of the Anna Lindh Foundation, whom I would like to warmly thank for the excellent cooperation we had in the months prior to the event. The event is also supported by UNEC, the Youth Board of Cyprus, whom I also like to thank warmly. Today's topic concerns the youth of Cyprus, and to a certain extent, topics that relate to the youth all over Europe, in its role and its capacity to shape the future, and in ways to create a Europe that the youth really wants. We will discuss today how young people contribute to decisions, either in the nations that they belong or in the European level, and especially in Cyprus. We also discuss the opportunities given to them by the society and the challenges that they face today. We are honored to be joined today by Ms. Alexandra Attalides, member of the House of Representatives with the Green Party, Ms. Maria Miltiadou, Deputy Executive Director of the Youth Board of Cyprus, and Mr. Antonis, President of the Cyprus Youth Council. Unfortunately, Ms. Themis Christofidou, Director General of EAG from the European Commission, who was due to join the event today, had a last-minute unforeseen event related to professional reasons, and she will be unable to join. Nevertheless, Ms. Christofidou has sent us a recorded video this morning, which will be broadcast just before the discussion. So today's discussion will follow Oxygono's rules, which are based on a structured dialogue. This is separated in 4 thematic areas, which cover the role of youth, the opportunities, the challenges of the inclusiveness, and the challenges of the administration in dealing with youth problems. If time allows, we will also discuss more challenges. Speakers will have 5 minutes to develop a position on each thematic area, and this will allow some exchange with the viewers at the end of the discussion. So for the public watching us, please add any questions you might have in the chat, and we'll do our best to address them at the end of the discussion. I would like to give firstly the floor to Mr. Javier Esteban from the Anna Lindh Foundation for a short welcoming speech.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Panayotis. So my name is Javier, and I'm here in representation of the Cyprus Network of the Anna Lindh Foundation. We are a non-governmental organization as well, who gathers like 60 organizations in Cyprus. And our main core is to promote intercultural dialogue and also fight against extremist discourses and radicalization in Europe and also in the South Mediterranean neighbor countries. So I'm here just to say thanks to Oxygono for make this happen, for the commitment with this event. We are really grateful as well with the speakers. Thank you very much to be here accompanying us. Also, thanks to the people who is following the streamings through the different Facebook sites. And I hope you have an interesting activity and a fruitful debate in youth policies. That's all from my side. Thank you very much, Panos, and good luck. The event is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Javier. Such a pleasure working with you also. Let's jump straight then, without further ado, to the message of Ms. Themis Christofidou.
Dear friends, I truly regret that I cannot be there with you today in person, but I wanted at least to send you a warm message of encouragement and appreciation for the work of your organization. Thank you to Oxygono and its members for organizing this event and for promoting public debate and civil engagement in Cyprus, especially on today's important topic on the future of Europe. When we talk about the future of Europe, it is easy to forget that we are not on a level playing field. It is much easier to think about the future when the present is well established, when we know where life is taking us. That is quite ostensibly not young people's experience today. I think the biggest challenge and the greatest opportunity in youth is precisely that things are not yet defined, not yet crystallized. This challenge has also become bigger in recent years. Young people more and more go out on a limb, investing in their future by studying or working abroad, moving away from their families and communities. The pandemic only increased the risk of isolation and alienation, which means greater strain on young people's mental health. These challenges have been guiding our youth strategy, especially in this new programming period. We designed the strategy around 3 words: engage, connect, empower. 3 vectors focusing towards community and against the atomization of young people. The EU Youth Dialogue, as a participation tool, doesn't just bring young people's ideas and perspectives to policymakers. It also brings the debate towards the needs of young people. And we're doing our best to make sure it reaches beyond the usual suspects. Right now, we're focusing on spaces for youth participation. The idea is precisely to link youth to other actors in politics. Of course, these efforts tie to the Conference on the Future of Europe, and I can only encourage you, all of you, to participate. I was glad to see that several Cypriots have already submitted their ideas. Whether we talk about the European Youth Portal, about youth projects under Erasmus+, or about Discovery U, the goal is not simply to address specific needs. It is to create spaces for discussion, spaces where young people can find each other, join communities, and think how they can participate on their own terms. That is manifestly the goal of one of the novelties of the new Erasmus+ program, youth participation activities. In Cyprus alone this year, we received 5 activity submissions to receive over 100,000 euros and involving 800 participants. We want to provide avenues for participation, and to do so on young people's own terms and according to their own needs. To fight isolation, division, and alienation, we need solidarity. This is also at the core of our work through the European Solidarity Corps program, which offers young people the opportunity to volunteer and set up their own solidarity projects. Just this year, projects in Cyprus are receiving over 130,000 euros. I sincerely hope that you take as much advantage of these opportunities as you can. That is for. I wish you every success in today's event, And I'm certain that with the distinguished panelists, there will be food for thought and fresh ideas on empowering young people to play an active role in shaping the future of Europe. Thank you.
Okay. So the scene is set for the discussion with this excellent introduction of the policies that are happening in Europe. And I would like to start with the first thematic area, which is the role of youth in shaping the future of Europe. So let me first go to Ms. Miltiadou from the Youth Board of Cyprus. Basically, many important decisions are taking place in shaping the future of Europe. And we have heard just now from Ms. Christofidou on a number of European initiatives. But I'm wondering at the same time, what about national policies? What is the national contribution in these policies in embedding the opinions of the youth? And how is their participation ensured? What is precisely the role that the youth is playing currently in shaping the future? Ms. Miltiadou?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me say a big thank you for inviting me here today, and it's a big pleasure being here with you, having this very interesting and important discussion. Mrs. Attalides, Mr. Kourras, Mr. Nikolaidis, and dear friends, good evening. On behalf of the Youth Board of Cyprus, I would like to congratulate you for this initiative today and for organizing this event. I couldn't agree more with you, Mr. Nikolaidis, that today young people have a great role to play in shaping their future, not only for the present, I'm talking about the future generations that are coming. On European level, the EU Youth Strategy offers too many opportunities, I would say, to young people to make their voice heard. I'm sure that you all know about the EU Youth Dialogue, the EU Youth Conferences, and the EU funding programs like Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps. These are definitely extremely valuable tools for empowering young people and making their voice loud and strong. Now, on terms of level, the participation of young people in decision-making at the national level is a basic priority for the Youth Board of Cyprus, and at the same time is a basic principle of the National Youth Strategy. By saying this, I mean that the strategy itself, the National Youth Strategy, is the outcome of an extensive consultation that was carried out between the government and around 3,000 young people. Now, at the moment, we are at the stage of the implementation of the National Youth Strategy. And the important thing is that the Youth Board of Cyprus keeps carrying out consultations with young people in order to collect their opinions. These opinions are very important to us. And the most important of it is that they are forwarded to the top level authorities that deal with youth-related issues. And the reason for being forwarded is to be further exploited for the design of new policies or for reforming existing measures. A very good example of the source of the process of consultation in Cyprus couple of years. Last year, in cooperation with the Ministry of Agriculture, in order to collect the concerns of the people living in the rural areas. The outcome of this consultation was presented to the Minister of Agriculture and the Chairman of the Youth Board of Cyprus, and I have to say that they have been taken into consideration seriously for the design of the new Common Agriculture Policy and all the programs that we have designed and offer to the people, to the young people in rural areas. Therefore, in order to conclude my answer, I would say that yes, definitely yes, young people's opinion is taken seriously into consideration, because the reason is because the methodology of consultation is highly respected. However, I think that the truth is that there is room for improvement. We all need to work harder towards this direction. We have to commit ourselves in the process of continuous consultations with the youth and ensure that the role of young people in shaping youth policies is getting stronger and stronger every day, not only in the youth field, but also in policy areas that affect, that's very important. And also the parameter of any kind of crisis should not create setbacks to this process. The Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go then to the politics of the issue and ask Mrs. Attalidou. We've heard a key phrase from the European strategy that Ms. Christofidou talked about in her message, was that of creating spaces for participation, spaces for opportunity for politicians and decision makers to connect them with the youth. And I'm wondering, is the youth's will expressed sufficiently in democratic processes? And does such space exist between politicians and political parties in order to assure the participation? And in this respect, what is exactly the role of the of youth in the House of Representatives and also in political parties?
Hello to everybody. Thank you for the invitation with you today, and congratulations to Oxygono and the Anna Lindh Foundation for organizing this. I want to tell you, I mean, I have a written speech, but I won't stick to that. I want to tell you the truth. I am an activist from an early age. I was in the streets from my teen years, and I have to tell you that the youth are not heard. Not in Cyprus, not in Europe. We create spaces. Some of the youth express their opinions, but there is not an institutional way that these voices and these wishes and these opinions are integrated in a way in strategies. I will let you know, for example, that the European Parliament wants the future of Europe and the proposals to be not just suggestions, but to be taken upon, to be in a way proposals that they have to be integrated in shaping policies. I don't see that will from the member states or from the Commission on of challenges in the last, let's say, 7 years, 8 years, economic, internal and external challenges, economic crisis, immigration, the immigration, Brexit, climate change, and now we have the pandemic. And these challenges, they have raised a lot of questions about the future of Europe. And if you remember, going back 2016, Juncker and the Commission realized that we have to start a debate about the future of Europe. What Europe do we want? It was, let's say, a reply to what was going on with Brexit and the other issues. And they proposed 5 scenarios, and these scenarios were discussed: more Europe, less Europe, doing more with less, deepening Europe, etc., etc. But I don't see something concrete coming out of that. There is a lot of publications, a lot of papers, but I don't see in any way this integrated in a substantial and structured way into policy making. People who demonstrate, for example, they create a lot of trouble, but I see it in Cyprus, for example. There was no way that we could affect the government with about corruption or about other issues. So what I am saying is that the Constitution does not enshrine the participation of the civic society, thus the youth. Do the youth have the power to change things? But I mean, in the organization, in them being organized, they don't vote. We have a lot of young people who are not voting, and the worst of all, they are not even enrolled in the electoral list. So we don't know how many of them they don't vote. It's a very big issue. Youth are facing challenges that maybe only we, the children of war, 1974 faced. Unemployment, and a future which is very vague, crisis, we have climate change, we don't know what's going to happen, and we need to act quickly. We have seen that when the youth are organized, like, for example, Fridays for Future, led by Greta Thunberg, we've seen that this movement has really shaken the political establishment. I don't believe that the politicians, they wanted to take measures for climate change, but seeing the strength of this movement has really it brought a lot of pressure on politicians, and now we are discussing, finally, the scientists are being heard, because all these years they have not been heard. And let's see also the Me Too campaign. For years and years and years, we knew that they are aware. Problems of harassment against women, and nothing was discussed. When people started talking, when they brought this to the open, things began to change. In my opinion, the Youth of Cyprus, not just 5 organizations, that 20 people in each of these organizations are active, but the Youth of Cyprus, we have to find a way to mobilize them. But to mobilize the youth, in my opinion, we have to change education. Education is the major problem in Cyprus. It doesn't create in the classroom a room for debates, a room for critical thinking, a room that will engage young people, and it will help them to be able to engage with politicians and to express their views and to explain what they want. And I believe that the education system in Cyprus is our major problem for youth indifference in politics.
Okay, thank you very much. So already so many points that have been raised, and this sets even better conditions for a dialogue in the next thematic areas, especially when we discuss also the challenges. And yeah, I would agree that with different problems, maybe it's the youth, maybe it's the policies, maybe it's the education, so it's important to correctly identify and also to propose solutions. Then let me go to Mr. Kourras then. We have heard 2 opinions, let's say. One that things are done, another opinion that more things need to be done. It's not enough. And I wonder, the civil society, which has a specific role in promoting these opinions and organizing the society and the youth, where exactly does it stand? What exactly is the role? Let's say if we compare Cyprus with a mature society in terms of civic organization, Scandinavian countries, where exactly do we compare and where exactly do we want to go?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me in today's discussion, and I would like to congratulate Oxygono and Anna Lindh Foundation for organizing this great event. I think I don't agree with Mrs. Attalides. I mean, I think that young people do participating, maybe in not the way we want. Of course, we want young people to be more active, but we saw that more young people now vote. They request, they make online petitions, they volunteer, and they applaud when something good happens, and they judge when something goes wrong, or at least not in the way they expected. We have seen young people to protest about the environment and be active regarding this issue. The civil society, young people are part of the civil and which is, I think that civil society and all the organizations, even not only the youth organizations, all the organizations that are part of the civil society in Cyprus are actively participating in their own way in shaping the future of their country and, of course, the future of Europe. The conference on the future of Europe gives the opportunity now to all European citizens to express their concerns and views, and of course submit their ideas for a better Europe. Young people can also participate in this democratic process, which involves for the very first time us, the citizens. We are given the opportunity to organize events, to collect ideas, submit our own ideas on how we want Europe to be in the future. Moreover, at least 1/3 of the participants of the European Citizens Panel, which are part of the conference on the future of Europe, will be younger than 25 years old. And we've got the plenary of the conference on the future of Europe, where one representative from the civil society from each member state of the European Union will have. It's an honor for me to be appointed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs to represent the civil society of Cyprus in the plenary. Conference on the future of Europe is a good example where the civil society and young people participate in democratic processes. In general, young people are given opportunities to participate, to be active, to be engaged and involved in democratic process. There are a lot of programs and projects run by youth organizations. Some projects were mentioned by Mrs. Miltiadou, like the EU Youth Dialogue and the EU Youth Conferences. The projects under the Erasmus Plus program. We've got the Youth Parliament of Cyprus, and of course, the consultations with the relevant bodies on different topics. All the results of the projects mentioned before from policies are designed by young people, and they are submitted to the relevant ministries and technocrats, to the President of the Republic of Cyprus, to the European Commission, to the President of the House of the Representatives, and of course to the European Parliament. Now, you may ask, is this enough? No, of course it's not enough. Our voice needs to be louder. Our efforts needs to be strengthened. Our passion for the future, our future, needs to drive us to more participation in the democratic processes, more young people to vote in the elections, more young people to volunteer, more young people to be candidates in the elections, and of course, more young people to speak up and raise their voice.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy that we are establishing a dialogue here, different positions, but I'm sure you will have the opportunity to say something more on the next thematic areas. So let me jump in on the second one, which is Ms. Attalides, you want to say
yes,
something?
I want to say something. I am very encouraged to see that the young people of Cyprus believe that their opinion is heard and their ideas are taken into account. Because I was very disappointed about their absence from the political process and the election and many other forums of discussion. I know that in Cyprus there is a 10% of young people that are very much interested in the future of Europe, very much interested in climate change, very much interested in the rule of law, very much interested in what happens in politics, in party politics, how policies are shaped. But it's a very small percentage. What about the huge numbers that are out there? They don't even know about sources of information. When you ask them, where did you read this? They say the internet. We have illiterate young people, and when I say illiterate, I mean that they don't even know how to distinguish a serious source of information from a source that is not serious. My concern, and I don't blame the young people, so please don't think that I am blaming the young. I am blaming us, because we raise the young generation, we give them the education, we plan their education, and we plan an education that, according to Harari, you know Harari, what you are learning today is going to be obsolete in 2030. The world is going to be a totally different place to live. And we are creating, he said, an army of unemployed people, armies of unemployed people. So what I am saying is that I am glad that you are satisfied, but I am very worried about your future.
Panos, if I may answer to Mrs. Attalides.
Yeah, we will have time during the challenges,
okay.
But just maybe, just hold your answer. Hold your answer for a moment so that I can go back to Ms. Miltiadou and start the second thematic area, which is on the opportunities. And let's become a little bit more specific here, because we have the different opinions. And okay, one issue is the participation and the inclusiveness that we will discuss in the third thematic area. How inclusive are the policies? But first, what opportunities we have about they came out of the war versus a generation now that is looking ahead in the future and is inside Europe, but faces the different challenges. So I wonder, are there more or less opportunities compared to older generations?
Thank you, Panagiotis. Okay, then, opportunities. That's a very, very good question. And believe me, it's a very big discussion. Personally, I will say my personal opinion, and taking into consideration all the opportunities that are available to youth today. I'm talking both on European level and national level, okay? There are definitely more and better opportunities for young people. Easily accessible, first of all, by all young people due to the technology. However, for me, the question is not only how many opportunities we give to young people, but also how meaningful these opportunities are. Because I think everything is about meaning, and the discussion we had before, earlier, it was all about the meaning behind the tools, behind any kind of cooperation, behind the programs or the strategies. What I mean by this, well, at the Youth Board of Cyprus, we strongly believe in meaning, and we try to create opportunities with meaning to young people, opportunities that will make them inspired, first of all. You need to be inspired so to be active. You need to be empowered in order to be engaged. That's why the meaning is an important aspect in the programs that we design for young people. And when I'm talking about programs, I'm referring to the opportunities, because on national level, there are several formal ways to involve young people, but also there are several informal ways to involve them. At the moment, I think that I have said before a lot about the European level and the tools and the mechanisms that the European Union provided the last the last decades, actually, the youngsters. I would like to talk to you a bit more about what we are doing here in Cyprus on national level, because I think it's of interest. Let me talk about our big event organized every year, about the National Youth Conference we are organizing every year in Youth Board of Cyprus. It's the biggest top-level and large-scale initiative that exists at the moment in Cyprus for young people, and it is designed totally to foster the dialogue of young people with public authorities. Young people, NGO representatives, informal youth groups, pupils, students, and government officials take part in this event just to work together and discuss and formulate future on specific topics that really affect youth life. This is a formal event, actually, and it's an event that fosters participation along with other formal ways, such as the participation of young people in advisory boards and committees. All of these are very good ways to include young people in decision-making processes, but they're not enough. That's the point here, I think. They're not enough. We need more. And we need more non-formal ways, in my opinion, to give young people motivation, inspiration, and reason to participate. For example, at the Youth Board of Cyprus, we have organized, designed, activities or programs that are based around interests or hobbies or learning skills or simply having fun are equally important for the youngsters, and we have to offer them. They are also related with education that Mrs. Attalides referred before. That's why the Youth Board of Cyprus has designed programs that foster the acquisition of soft skills and the development of character. Mainly, the reason we're doing this is mainly to help young people to develop themselves, their personality, their character, and finally, their confidence, and to be able to participate meaningful in different tasks and programs in the civil society as such. If I have one more, I would like to refer on a hands-on example of a bottom-up approach for empowering young people. It's a very, very new established program in the Youth Board of Cyprus. It's a program called Young Cities. It was implemented in 2020 first time, and it included a huge amount of young people from 3 different municipalities. Young people there in that program were given the necessary training in the process of problem solving and design thinking. Following this, the aim was to make them able to identify their own local challenges and to propose solutions in the problem. They were given all the necessary resources. That's what we are doing, and that's what our obligation is to do, to offer them with space and resources for implementing ideas and finding solutions. The project, I have to say, it was of maximum success, and that's why it's going to be repeated with other 3 municipalities this coming year. All I want to say is that the opportunities are open and widely disseminated to young people. But there is a but. Young people are making use of these opportunities, not in huge majority, as Mrs. Attalides said before. Maybe it's true that the majority of young people today are mainly disappointed and not so happy so as to get actively participating. But why young people are disappointed, it's something we need to answer. It's absolutely reasonable for them to be disappointed and to feel frustrated. It's important to them to find again the meaning behind everything we are designing, imposing, or asking them to do. The reason I'm saying this is that we are spending too many words and too much effort in creating this, but these opportunities sometimes, not always, lack the meaning of what is important for young people. So we need to concentrate on programs, on synergies that will help us develop more meaningful projects for young people that will inspire them, empower them, and engage them, after all, to be active young citizens. I would like one minute, just a minute, to say a big thank you to Antonis, because he's representing here today the Cyprus Youth Council, and our cooperation is very close all these years. And due to this fruitful cooperation, I have to say that we are developing our organizations in a way that is hopefully of big interest for the young people. So what I'm trying to say is that the Youth Council, the Youth Club in general, and the local youth ecosystem, it proves that the synergies are going on and progressing in a way that will finally reach a majority of young people, because we need to reach the majority of young people, not the minority. And for this reason, I'm very happy to work for this purpose with other colleagues and stakeholders in the ecosystem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Thank
Maria. Yeah, great to hear then of the different opportunities, but also on the fact that we seem to agree on the mass that there is usually a relatively selective number of individuals that are participating. And so let me go back to Antonis then and ask about the civil society, maybe something that relates to the issue that you were discussing with Ms. Attalides, and of course you can answer her as well on her previous remarks. But I was wondering, you know, starting a new organization to include some people, to raise a problem, to get organized, is not so easy. I can see it from our organization, from Oxygono, that when you start an organization, you face an uphill struggle. The funding is sparse. Most people work from their own time. So it's very, very hard to get organized and make things work and make your voice heard. And so let me reverse to you and the civic society, and what are the opportunities offered really, and how easy it is for a new organization to start? And how can we be a little bit more inclusive? Do we create a system where instead of having more people in the system, at the end of the day, we create a closed system?
Firstly, I would like to answer to Mrs. Attalides. I did not say that our voice is heard or is taken into consideration. I said that young people do participate, not the majority, of course, but we do participate, and we have created these opportunities to participate ourselves. The opportunities that the Youth Board of Cyprus gives to young people, or Cyprus Youth Council gives some opportunities as well. I mean, it came from the young people, those opportunities that were created by young people. Of course, we are not happy for not taking into consideration, I mean, our voices, but we are trying our best. And as Panos said before, this generation is given more opportunities. I will say more opportunities to participate in programs and projects, but not opportunities to actively participate in democratic processes and have a seat in the decision-making process. I think this is the difference. We are active in projects, in activism, in volunteerism, but we are not. Our voice is not taken into consideration. There are a lot of opportunities, like Maria said before, that young people can take to participate. For example, I will say one of our big programs, the EU Youth Dialogue, which involves all young people across Europe, where they express their concerns and views regarding a different topic. We've got the 25% project of the Cyprus Youth Council, where young people can express their concerns and views regarding the future of Europe and submit their ideas. And we you said, Panos, before that, if we are inclusive, if we are, if creating a new organization if we face obstacles by creating a youth organization, Cyprus Youth Council always tries to include young people, regardless of their background. For example, to EU languages, and of course to the Turkish language, because Cyprus Youth Council represents the Turkish Cypriot community as well, the young people of the Turkish Cypriot community. So we want to include them and hear them, and we want to engage them by submitting their ideas on the future of Europe. We've got the volunteerism as well, a European Solidarity Corps, which is run by the Youth Board of Cyprus. Volunteering is a vital part of the civil society and, of course, of youth organization. Nowadays, having a new organization is very difficult. Funding is the biggest problem, the biggest obstacle for creating a new organization, and especially youth organization, because as I said before, the majority of young people do not participate. We've got a minority that participates, and they are very, very active, but the majority does not participate. So creating a youth organization is very, very difficult, especially here in Cyprus, because our voice is not here. We said it many times, but I will say it more, 100 more. Our voice is not here. So why to create? Why to have a new youth organization? Hopefully, this will change soon, and young people will be eager to create synergies, like Maria said, and have new youth organizations and organizations in general, no matter what. But of course, we know that having a new youth organization is a really, really difficult here nowadays. But I will suggest young people who are out there and think to have their own organization or have their own project, to do it. I mean, if we don't do it, if we don't change our way we work, our way we think, and our way we live, we will not change anything at the end of the day. So my suggestion for all the people, for the young people especially, who hear us now, is do whatever you want to do.
Okay, fantastic. I'm happy you say this, Antoni, keeping the phrase that the voice is not heard, the voice of young people. And then when I go back to Ms. Attalides now, I wonder about, okay, the fact that you're critical. I like the fact that you're critical. And we need people that are critical and they voice these opinions. And what would you answer to Antonis then as a solution? Because in terms of critique, solution as well, how can young people make their voice heard? And what else can be done? What else, how should opportunities look, either in political participation or other forms of organization? What can they do?
First of all, I want to give you some examples. Because I've been working for 12 years at the European Parliament office here in Cyprus, I ran 3 elections. I worked with the Youth Council during elections, trying to reach out to the youth. And you are, presidents and colleagues before you, they can tell you our really painful experience. I don't want to mention it, that we organized events all over Cyprus, and we, the speakers or the participants, were more than the young people who came to listen. So I am not critical because I want to dismiss. It's because it's a very painful subject for me. When young people say that, I want to cry, because now they have all the means. They have sources of information that we never had when we were young. They have platforms. Everybody's begging them to participate. Everybody's begging them to express opinions. We had Together EU during the last elections, the European elections. And we were really trying very hard to encourage young people to get on the platform and to express their opinions about unemployment, about immigration, about Brexit, about peace and security, about the environment, all the issues that are, for me, are crucial and they are going to shape the future and their future. And we could not really engage them. So what I'm saying is that when somebody is 20 and 18 and they were raised in a culture that was not nurturing and dialogue, the oxygen was not enough for them to feel secure, to develop soft skills of public speaking, of raising their hand and expressing their opinion, of knowing where to find information and how to shape their opinion, of asking critical questions, of not being afraid that somebody will target them either in the class, that if they say something that politicians exactly decided that a page should be torn and thrown away, so that the young people of Cyprus will not read that page. So somebody up there knows best what is good for the young people. I didn't see any young people individually or their organizations to come out and say, hey, mister, you know, give us the opportunity and we have the way to be critical. We can read through the lines. We will form an opinion. Information. Example of what say these are ad hoc top-down proposals. So what I am saying is that in Cyprus particularly, and in Europe, but not in such an extent, we should encourage people to participate by introducing, let's say, structured ways. For example, we are debating a bill of law, a legislation in the parliament. I would love to have always the young people in consultations, because we are deciding laws that they will shape their future. They are never there because nobody thinks to invite them. So, in my opinion, the young people of Cyprus and technology, combined of them together, a lot of jobs, for example, are going to be obsolete in the future. And we are going to start by low-skilled jobs, like, for example, drivers. In a few years, buses, cars, trains, they won't need a driver. So it's good that young people know that some things that we consider today, let's say, good opportunities for employment, in the future, they are not going to exist. We have to talk about how is this future going to be? Do we talk about it? And you said, I want to say something caught my attention. You said that we represent Turkish Cypriots. How do you represent them? Do you talk to them?
Of course.
Are they members in the council? No, are they members of the council? Are they?
Yes, they are.
I'm very glad to hear that. If they are members of the council and you hear them and they think that you represent them, this is a very positive. This is very positive for the future of the island, because unfortunately, we have monologues on each side. Monologues, and nobody is really establishing bridges of cooperation like in Ireland. In Ireland, there was a conflict, a blood conflict for generations. And thanks to brave women that they started to work, grassroots organizations, they together to solve problems of the community, education, schools, simple things that they brought them together. In Cyprus, we don't talk, and not only we don't talk, but in the institutional establishments of Cyprus, the education, and in other places, we don't encourage dialogue. And this is what worries me. And that's why I believe that the young people, if they want to live, let's say, in an island that they will shape its future, they should be more assertive and more demanding, and they should also try to see all of these programs that you mentioned. I know that you are implementing them. I know that you are working hard in these councils. Do they have a spillover effect? Do they have an impact? Are politicians changing? Do they lend you their ears? Or do they pat you on the shoulder? They patronize the young people to get the votes, and then they forget you for 5 years. This is my worry. And that's why I want the young people to be more demanding and to demand established ways of consultations and how their voice is going to be included in laws, in policies, in policy making, all of these things. Whatever I can do, I will do, because I believe that the future is yours. We are finished. We almost destroyed Cyprus, and we have to acknowledge that. My generation was not so much, is not so much guilty because we were teenagers when what happened in Cyprus. But still we are responsible for the situation we are now. The rule of law suffers, participation suffers, political processes suffer, because if you do not participate, then democracy is not strong. And when half of the population is not voting and 60% of the young people or 70% are not voting, then for me, this is not a democracy. It suffers, and we are going to pay for it.
It will be up to the young generations then to form a new society with the opportunities that they're given. And so that is the importance of opportunities and in shaping the future of Europe. But let me jump in the third thematic area, which is the inclusiveness, and going a bit deeper. And probably I should go to Antonis first. But the questions are common to all, and it would be nice to hear the opinions of everyone and to establish a dialogue. Maybe before I go into this, just to remind people that are watching us that they can also ask questions through the chat, and they can also tell us if they agree or disagree with certain opinions that have been raised. Do they feel included? Do they feel excluded? What do they feel about this? What do they feel about the future? Can they shape it so that we can hear from them as well? But okay, on the issue of inclusiveness, suppose that we can imagine a person in another country, not in Cyprus, and in shaping the future of Europe, someone that is in the center. Would that person shape Europe better than a Cypriot, a person in the periphery? And if I from the point of nationality, let's make this an intra-national issue as well. We said about the issues of Turkish Cypriots. Are they included? Are they excluded? Do they have more opportunities in shaping Europe than a Greek Cypriot? And we can also extend that to gender as well. Does a female participant have more opportunities or less opportunities than a male person in shaping Europe? So this would be interesting to hear. Let's start with Antonis.
So, if the the question of if we are inclusive as Cypriots or as organizations or generally, is the civil society of Cyprus inclusive? The quick answer, of course, is no. We are not inclusive. Not only us, I mean the civil society, not only the youth organizations, but also the government, the decision makers. We are not inclusive. Of course, people, and especially young people with a different background, like young people belonging to LGBTQI community or in a religious minority, like me, or young people from the Turkish Cypriot community, or young people from having a disability. They are not given equal opportunities like the other people here in Cyprus. But I strongly That's what we fight for here in Cyprus Youth Council, for all the voices to equally be heard by the government and, of course, the MPs. If you said that if you have a young person from another country, will he or she shape the future of Europe better than a Greek Cypriot or a Turkish Cypriot? I would say, from a Cypriot, I would say. I strongly believe, yes, they will shape better the future of Europe than us. And the answer, why? The question is, why will they shape the future of Europe better than a Cypriot? The answer is that I strongly believe that young people and generally European people in other countries are more European than Cypriots. We are not educated here on what Europe is, what European Union is, the institutions of European Union, the values of the European Union, which are values that all people in the world must have, of course, but because these values are the base of the European Union. But here, the Cypriots, and of course, many young people do not know how European Union works. What are these values? And what we do about us, what Europe does about us, and what we do for Europe. So yes, the person living in another country will shape the future of Europe better than a Cypriot one. We don't have the opportunities that other people in other countries have. We've got opportunities, and as Mrs. Attalides said, we've got a lot of sources of information for us to be informed about the opportunities we have and on how we can participate. But participating or not, our voices are not heard. Yeah. And the young people here, I believe that they first have to know what European Union is, how European Union works, in order to shape the future of their Europe first, and then of our own country. And I will go back to the inclusiveness. During this conference on the future of Europe, in general, during different democratic processes, that be heard, because I'm pretty sure that young people with different backgrounds and with less opportunities will not participate and are not participating in democratic processes. But we must ensure not only the government, but also us, the civil society and the young people, must ensure that all young people, regardless of their background, will participate. Mrs. Attalides participates also, and this is what I said to the MPs, that this committee has to and make sure that all voices are heard, and all voices and all young people participate, regardless of their background.
Yes, I agree, totally.
So let me go to the government's view then, to Maria, and probably ask you then, since Antonis said no, there is a inclusiveness. And I'm asking about inclusiveness from different viewpoints. So I've said about nationality, gender, for example, but I'm also interested in household wealth as well, or the rural versus the urban, people that are living in villages versus people that are living in cities, inclusiveness in general. How do we ensure that people are represented and their voices heard? What policies are in place?
Okay. Antonis was straight and very honest, saying that no, there is no inclusiveness in our day life. In theory, Antonis, we are very much inclusive. The problem is when things come into practice, what is going there? In theory, in paper, in rules and regulations, in policies we set up and design every day, balance is there. There are no discriminations. I can totally confirm that, because if you check up all our sites and brochures and all the info provided for our programs and all we offer, we always start by saying that inclusiveness is a priority. Inclusion is a priority, and we strive to reach as many young people as we can, regardless their national identity, their sex or religion, or any other criteria may interfere in the in personal life, in social life. We believe that we managed to achieve a very good result in building an open communication with Cypriot youth. Our communication with young people is open and always without any limitations. Through our programs and services we offer, we try to target young people of all ages and of course of diverse backgrounds, but also through the various processes that we have open and all the channels we use, we try to minimize the problem, because there is a problem, especially with people living in rural areas, or people which are young people which are more vulnerable, or young people mainly who are faced with health issue problems, maybe disabilities, or even unemployment. These are the biggest obstacles in finding, let's say, easy reach to those people. What I have to admit and say on behalf of the government, as Panagiotis said, there is much more to be done, need to be done, in order to reach particularly, as I said before, the vulnerable group of people, and make them feel happy, engaged, empowered, willing to share their views, share their opinions, and get involved in the processes. However, we have a big obstacle in our everyday routine, trying to reach these people and make them reach them and make their life easier and their participation more active. It's the budget. The budget is always limited in doing what you want to do. There are several ideas and several programs that can be designed and address, especially to this category of people, to this group of young people, such are the areas, or the people or the youngsters who feel demotivated, vulnerable, and they have no good counseling in their school environment or in their family environment. Especially lately, the discussions around mental health of young people prove that we need to work further on that aspect. The problem on mental health because of the COVID and the consequences of the COVID-19 crisis are already obvious in youth, in young people. So we need to cooperate further and find the way to show the way out of this crisis for youngsters. Mental health is of great importance and is one of my personal priorities at the Youth Board of Cyprus at this time. And I'm open, and now it's the time, I think, to address an open invitation to your speakers, Panayoti, to cooperate on that and bring into the parliament a concrete proposal on the way we can reach the vulnerable people and the people who are faced with mental health issues at the right bank. And I think that Mrs. Attalides there in the committee, she's actively participating. She can support all we are saying at the moment and ask and give us the light. Give us the light for bigger budgets for reaching this problem. And believe me, it will be of much benefit for the state in a long time period. In long term, that's what I mean, because mentally healthy human beings and young people are long-term healthy citizens, healthy members of the community at national and European level. So I'm very happy I share these views with you at the moment. It was the right time, I think, and the right place to give a promising, let's say, word, a promising view about the future and about future projects that we can put forward and prepare and share for young people, because we may have some problems in reaching them. Their active participation might be low, not the expected one or the desired amount of participation, percentage of participation, excuse me. But at the very end, as Mrs. Attalides said before, we have the big responsibility getting them out from problems. I mean, we have the duty, we have the responsibility to offer them the space, the resources, the opportunities, the way to find their way, and not only rarely. I want to close with this word: constantly, every day, non-stop, without any setbacks. Setbacks maybe appear in our way, but we should not allow setbacks in this huge and long way to help young people, to support. The support needs to be constant in order to be progressive and show some results at the very end.
Thank you. Okay, very interesting views then. Also about the COVID, I'm happy that this is raised. Maybe we can talk a little bit about it in the next thematic area, because it seems to be a particular area of concern for the future and for the young people that have been affected by it. But I want to ask Ms. Attalides now on the inclusiveness, especially about political parties, because it seems to me that inclusiveness is also affected by the political process, and parties are the ones that control a lot of the things. Like, they give the opportunities, they channel opinions, they channel politicians into the certain positions, and any kind of party. I'm not talking about particular parties, but whatever the color is, I'm talking about the political system that exists and the way it works in giving opportunities. And so does this affect inclusiveness? And what can be done about this?
I will start with saying something about inclusiveness and equality. George Orwell in The Animal Farm said everybody is equal, but pigs are more equal. So in my opinion, in Cyprus, which is, it's a very exclusive society, actually. And I will start with, as Antonis said, religion minorities. I don't think they are hurt as the majority is hurt. Women are not hurt as men are hurt. Young people are not as hurt as other parts of the society, other groups of the society are hurt. The LGBTQ society people, they are not hurt. Not only they are not hurt, but common human rights that we all must have, they have to fight for them. They have to fight for years and years because a patriarchal society as Cyprus wanted to decide how other people are going to live and what rights they are going to have. Let's start from women. We have 56 members of the parliament and 9 of us are women. Do you call this democracy? Inclusive? No, it's totally exclusive. Because I don't know who said that one woman at the table is a token, 2 is a pretext, 3, now we start talking business. We are very few. There are committees that it's only one of us. They are debating our life. We are, sorry, now I am on the other side, I forgot. So we are debating the future of this island in many ways, policies that will affect everybody, and the women are not represented on an equal footing, and young people are not represented on an equal footing. We don't have a lot of young. I mean, now it's a younger parliament, but not young enough. We don't have many representatives of, let's say, that they have voting rights of minorities, religious minorities. So in my opinion, this is not a very open society and a very inclusive society. Exclusiveness most of the time is institutionalized. We don't know it that is there, but it's there. It's endemic in the institutions. And we have really to take a mirror and to look with honesty on ourselves. And I will say something. They pay lip service on the equality of women. When we propose quotas as a positive measure that will encourage women to participate in the public life, politics, and they will be able to really make the difference. I mean, some political parties, they call it not democratic. And I am saying, and this is a democracy, 60 years after Cyprus was declared independent. Do you think that this is a democracy, that 9 women are elected? No, it's not. Even if on paper it's a democracy, when half of the population is not represented equally, this is not a true democracy. So what I am saying is that everything should change and we need positive measures. Party politics, for example, I suggested once at a consultation with the Minister of Justice, because I belong to many women organizations, I'm a feminist, I suggested that the public financing of the parties, because we all pay for the parties to be financed, should be connected to democratic indexes. Let's say that you have on your political organs in the party 50-50, you get 100% of the financing. You have 40, you get less. So that they will have an incentive to create the space for how are they going to cultivate the ground for other women to follow. So what I am saying is that we pay lip service to equality, to democracy, to participation, to inclusiveness, but the tools, the benchmarks are not there to secure this. So let's take one example. We say that we should protect women from violence because 80% of victims of violence are women and girls. But we don't include money in the budget. As it was said before, if you don't include money in the budget, whatever policy proclamations you make, they are void. You need money. Youth organizations, they need money to employ people so that they don't depend so much on volunteerism, because young people work. We work, women work, and we don't have time to really staff organizations that they are lobbying and they are canvassing. So in Cyprus, there is not a lot of financing from public finances for civil society. This should change. Why do political parties get financing from the state and not the civic society? Civic society, for me, it's a pillar of democracy. It's a necessary pillar of democracies. And we should empower the civil society and the organization of citizens. And citizenship should be strengthened. And it should start from the schools. Again, I am saying that the education system must change completely. We should create people that they come out of schools and universities, that they have critical thinking, that they are inclusive, that they understand what Europe stands for. As you said, I totally agree with you. We cannot pay lip service to the European values when it's for us, but when it's for the other, we don't want to share values. Europe speaks about equality, inclusiveness, acceptance, understanding, peace culture. So we always pay lip service to the European values when we are talking about the Cyprus problem. But we don't want to discuss them when we're talking about refugees being stopped in boats in the sea. This is not correct. We have to be honest. We need an open society. We are strong people. We survived occupations, wars. We were crushed and we stood up. We should not be afraid to be inclusive, going to dilute our ethnic beliefs. Nobody's going to harm us. We have to be strong, and this is what we have to teach our kids. Be proud of who you are, but respect the others, include them. Tell me how many Cypriots have foreign friends, not from their university. And invite foreign people in our houses. How many of us feel comfortable to engage with other cultures? And this, again, in my opinion, in all, let's say, the problems we see in our society, in my opinion, they derive from an education system that and if you see what the others are doing, we don't have to rediscover the wheel. Let's see what Finland is doing. Why are the students in Finland so happy and the students in Cyprus are so unhappy? Let's start from that. Let's make students happy, that they go to the school and they are happy. Let's make schools a place that is that encourages dialogue and understanding. Something, knowledge, you can learn, you can sit down and read books and pass exams. But citizenship, it's a process. And it starts from the moment you are born, how you engage with the others, the respect you show to the others, the understanding, the acknowledgement that they may be different, but they have equal rights like you. We don't believe, a lot of us in Cyprus, unfortunately, we are far from that. So, in my opinion, a lot of things have to be institutionalized. Participation of women, participation of the young, participation of representatives of the LGBTQI community. Why do we exclude these people? Why do we exclude them? Why do they have to hide? Because people with special needs, they cannot move around, mobility issues. We block the pavements. There is no way for them to move. We kill them. We run over them. I mean, there are a lot of areas that we should really reevaluate what is going on, what are our perceptions, what is the reality, and what we have to do. Parties, political parties, they are responsible. They are responsible for the situation in Cyprus. They are voting, they hold, they have a lot of power because they approve the budget. When you approve the budget, you can really make the change. And they have to really understand that we cannot go forward like this. We need to change, all of us.
Thank you very much. Several, yes. Matter of culture as well, and a lot of other issues that have been raised, the matter of education. And I'm happy that the budget is raised as well as an issue. Personally, I wonder how much funds from Next Generation EU is diverted, shifted towards youth organizations or programs involved with the youth. So in terms of the last thematic area, which is about the administration, the challenges of administration. And here I was envisaging to make a discussion more about how governments, national governments, and the European Union and the Parliament and civil society is coordinating in reaching the different opinions. But I think due to the issues that have been raised, and because we're running a little bit over time, maybe if I could have your short comment, 2 or 3 minutes each, on an issue that you think is very important for today, and a new issue, a new challenge that should be addressed. For me, for example, a good comment could be about COVID, because young people have been severely affected by it. If you think about how many classes were done online and not in person, and how these would impact their future, these are unknowns that we don't know yet how they will affect. They seem to be more isolated, for example, than in the past. And we're still in the middle. We're still not done with it. So I was wondering if this is an issue that we should be worried about, and if something can't be done. Let's start from Maria, and then we go to the other speakers. But a short comment, please, like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Panayotis, and I could also add to your comment by saying that the second Youth Barometer survey that we have conducted last year in the Youth Board of Cyprus prove out that the challenges are big for young people, and one big challenge for them is the impact of COVID-19 in their life. It's been very, very, very persuasive and has affected them a lot. And this is how, and we need to have this in mind for the short future. But what is more, I would say it's the challenge of employment. The lack of employment opportunities concerns young people very much, concerns and affects them. And I think that the discussion around employment opportunities and how we help have a successful transition from school or student life to the market is a very big issue that we need to raise and discuss further in the future. That's my personal opinion. And we need to involve in this discussion all the main stakeholders, all the ministries, all the and all the institutions or non-formal organizations that can help the discussion and can facilitate the mapping of some good suggestions on this topic. I'm happy to say a final, very much, a last comment I would say, since I realized that we will skip the thematic area number 4 and the challenge for the administration. Something I would like to refer to, which is very, very important, is the holistic and cross-sectoral approach that we have managed to establish with the other organizations in Cyprus on youth policy issues. This is something very important for us. The coordination and cooperation is constant and very close between the Youth Board of Cyprus and all the public authorities dealing with youth issues in Cyprus. This fact itself allows us to be very optimistic about the cooperation of the government in the development of youth, of new policies about youth. I wanted to mention that before we close the discussion today. So this is also a comment that we need to have in mind when for the future, and when we talk again, I hope soon, about the
Thank you very much. Indeed, a very important area, yes, cross-sectional policies, but I am happy that you raised the issue of employment also. Ms. Attalides, what do you think? What is, I know your views about the educational system, they have been expressed. What do you think about COVID as a challenge or any other challenges?
I will advise all of you to read something. It's called Lessons from a Year of COVID. It's free to read from the Financial Times. It's from Yuval Noah Harari, the philosopher who wrote *Sapiens*, *Homo Deus*, etc., etc. This goes, first of all, the pandemics are here to stay. Okay? We are entering the era of the pandemic. This is what the scientists are saying, because we have the human action has affected the balance of nature, and as a result, we are going to have pandemics. Second, imagine if we had this pandemic 40 years ago. No internet, no communication, no mobiles, no FaceTime to talk with your loved ones that they were at, no chance to work from home. So what we need definitely is to strengthen internet, sufficient technologies, digitalization in Cyprus, because we are also lagging behind all the other countries. We need to secure that in any event this winter or in because it's very, you have loved ones and they are not near, and you go through a situation like this that you don't know if you're going to survive, even if you take on, and especially if you are older like me, And at first, everybody was afraid that all the people, they are more vulnerable and they die, but now we see that everybody is vulnerable. So what are the lessons? First of all, we have to change the way we live. We have to take into the account climate change. We have to change our homes, the way we heat our homes, the way we cook, the way we travel. Everything is going to change, and I encourage you to start reading about this, about the office space, for example. What will happen to a lot of office space that everywhere we have a lot, and now a lot of companies, for example, the European Parliament decided that permanently from now on, a percentage working is going to be obligatoire. It's going to be, we're going to, the people who work for the European Parliament are going to work, let's say, I don't know how much it is, 25% or 70% from home. We have to change our homes. We need computers and technology. We need more space. So people may decide to, okay, I can live outside the city because 3 days I'm going to work from home or from the office and 2 days from home. So 4 days I'm going to stay at home. So maybe it's cheaper to go and live outside the city where land is cheaper. I can have a bigger house. I can have a garden, because during the pandemic we needed outer space, and a lot of people, they didn't have the space. So the way we work is going to change. The way we feel is going to change. For me, it's very difficult that I cannot kiss and hug people. I mean, this thing that it was so natural, now we see our friends and we just touch hands like this. And I think that this is affecting us a lot. Imagine young people that they need to laugh, they need to form relations, they need to go out and flirt, and they are locked down. And you are thinking, am I going to have sex with somebody that has COVID? I mean, these things are, but it's important, huh? It's important. I was seeing Theodorakis. I was seeing an interview by Theodorakis yesterday, and he said all of these young people on an island of Macronisons at 20 to 30 years old, imagine the deprivation that they felt, that they could not come in contact with the other sex. I mean, these things are very important for our psychology. And the other thing, I'm worried about the children, and I'm worried about women who are locked down, and there is a lot of violence, 37%, 38% increase of violence against women. All of these things we have to have in mind, that it's a changing world. We need stronger health systems, public health systems. So we need to shift finances and budget from other sectors to public health. In my opinion, what was proven, it was that scientists can, but politicians, they find it difficult to cooperate during crisis. They only think about themselves. They don't see it as an opportunity to cooperate and solve problems. And in my opinion, we need global governance of health issues and health resources. These are some of the things that I am thinking. The educational system now in Cyprus needs to change, because we don't know when we are going to go on online or in physical presence. So, in my opinion, we have to work very, 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 very quickly and very, very, very seriously on the digital transformation of Cyprus. Build networks that are strong and can handle all the traffic that we need from homes to watch films, to communicate. So we need to think about, for example, building licenses, authorities, all of these, they have to rethink cities. And we have to do it now. We cannot wait until the next pandemic. We have to start thinking pieces now. We need to have windows. A lot of buildings, they don't have windows because they have air conditions, and they are going to be obsolete because they circulate viruses. We have to see all of these things and rethink the way we live our lives and the way we work and we engage with other people.
Thank you. Okay, many issues. Then Antonis, final comment, because we're a little bit pressed with time.
Yeah. It will not take
Sorry
long.
about
I agree with both speakers, Mrs. Miltiadou and Mrs. Attalides, about the issues we face now. I will say about the pandemic, I want to say that as for young people, they were affected mostly about the pandemic. Just some results from the survey that was run by the European Youth Forum with the International Labour Organization showed that 1 to 6 young people are left with no job. 2 to 5 faced salary deduction, and 1 to 2 young people are possibly subject to anxiety or depression because of the pandemic. So the effects of the pandemic, yes, we all the civil society, government, parliament, youth organization, we must all collaborate to tackle these issues. I agree with Mrs. Attalides about the educational system. It must be totally changed. And for me, as Antonis, the biggest issue of all is the Cyprus problem. We do not know if the Cyprus problem is not resolved. If we remain divided, we have no future, not even in the big European family. So this is, for me, the biggest issue we face nowadays.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there is many issues that have been raised. There is a good identification and discussion of the problems facing today, but not only problems. I mean, we often we are critical and we like to discuss different problems and challenges, but also we discuss also the different opportunities that are given today. Maybe it's good to raise challenges so that something can be done. So with this, let me thank all of you, Maria Miltiadou, Alexandra, Attalides, Antonis, Kourras, for discussing with us today. It's been a pleasure raising the different problems and discussing with you such an interesting discussion. Just to remind everyone of our upcoming events, we have on the 27th of this month, Larnaca 2040, another event. And then it's the Cyprus Forum, our annual big event that is being organized on the 1st of October. Thank you very much for your participation, and I wish everyone a very good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a nice evening.